Whenever I'm out and about at parties or trade fairs or visiting friends, I always like to be able to show something to them, but most of my collection is large items. But over the years I managed to find a number of them which are so small that I can put them into a pack like that and keep in my pocket. And I think I've reached about 50 pieces now, all different categories really. At least about a third of them are not very photogenic, so I haven't tried to show them. But here's a lovely set of playing cards that I've built up over the years, and these all compact, and they eventually would go into this pack and just make it a little bit thicker, but that's all. But they fit into a pack, fits into my pocket, and they have a lot of entertainment, these, because they're such unusual cards that I've come across just by looking for things. Which the very first one, for instance, almost like an impossible card. It was produced to me like this, and I had to work out how it was made, because when you lift this tab up, it sort of got itself caught inside and you can't see how to unwrap it. The start for this, incidentally, is like this. I had them made specially for me. It's just a card like that, where that's been cut out, and there's the piece, which somehow has got to be infolded so that it appears like that. Extraordinary, like that. It's a little bit tricky to do, but it is possible, and I've learnt over the years how to do it easily. And the other thing for me is I have a lot of these I've made up for me, especially about 300. It's something I can easily take to a party or an event, or just even someone on a train. I can give one to them. I can say, well, you can keep that, because at home I've got, if I've run out, I just make a few more and then put them into my storage. So that's the particular reason for coming across and experimenting with playing cards, which have unusual properties. This is one based on that lovely magician's trick. They do it with a big card, but it's done in the form of a little card. And the idea is get a person to hold it with their hand like that and say, is it possible for me to turn that card the other way up so that it appears like that? Without you letting go. You can't put your hand through that or anything, but there's a way of doing it. When you hold on tight, I'll manipulate it and make it turn upside down. It's done like this. I do that to there, I fold the two sides together, I fold that across, and now I unfold and unfold and unfold, and it's reversed. Very, very clever. Stargate, they called it. And magicians had a wonderful time with that, with giant cards doing marvellous things. Well, I've made it with a very small card. And another one, a friend of mine, Mark Ducati, showed me many years ago. It's probably best made with plastic because it needs a lot of bending, but you can do it with a playing card. It's just that it's got some fierce bendings needed. The idea is to turn it from that situation to that situation where it's reversed, but without letting go with your finger and thumb. So I get the friend to hold it and I say, I'll bet you I can turn that around without you letting go. And what I do is I twist that in like that, and I twist it a bit further like that, and it's done. It just reverses. It's all done by pushing forward. That's quite a bit of twisting needed there. And with ordinary playing cards, it's a bit too severe for playing cards. So I found over the years it's better to make it from a plastic where it shows it's just a playing card one side and it's flanked the other side. But the finger and thumb don't let go, and you can twist it round. Very nice idea, that. This is it's just a little observational thing. It says on the back, how many mistakes are made in this card? Answer, 6. So let's have a look. I'll point them out to you. The first obvious mismatch is that there's 3 hearts here, and yet a 2 is mentioned at the top and bottom. So that's not right. There's a mismatch between what's mentioned in the corner, what appears. More subtly, this one here, as when you turn it upside down, is the wrong way around. It's a mirror image. Also, it's a convention with cards. You'll see it, for instance, if I hold this card up, you'll see 2 of them the right way up and the others upside down. With the 3, the convention is you have 2 cards, 2 hearts one way up, the other heart the other way around. So that hasn't done that. And also the corners, that's correct, but that's incorrect. And then there's a very subtle one that most cards have these corners here, only for right angle. Look, here's an ordinary card, and it's these corners here which I normally have the value written down as a number. Here it's been reversed. And the last one is something children get and adults overlook. They say, "Oh, mister, it's the wrong colour." True. It's black, it's a photocopy. Oh, it's the wrong colour, so give them away. So something I can very easily make, and do make, over and over again for for giving out to people. Here's a few more of these extraordinary ones. This set here is all the same genre of what they call the Hypercard. You take a card like that, you make 3 cuts there, a cut at the top, a cut here, twist it like that. When you now put it on the table or fix it to a plate or something like that, or stick it down, you ask people to work out almost, you know, in their mind, or you can stuff it like that, work out how it was made, how it could be done. Well, the answer is, in fact, when you pick it up, you realise it's been done by twisting it like that. Either way, it'll make that extraordinary extra little bit in the middle look as though it's somehow got there by mistake. And here's 3 other versions of the same thing. This one here is the same thing, but it's been twisted 3 times. Look, once, twice, 3 times. And now, when it's laid down, it's got 2 wings, not a single wing, and triangular wings at that. That's the same idea. You twist it in space, and then suddenly it appears. It's wonderful. Here's another one which is very bizarre. This one, in order to bring it out, I actually attach it to a piece of plastic and I glue it so you can, or staple it so you can't undo it. Can you imagine, you see, having seen what's going on here, when you twist that back again, how it can possibly reform itself into a card? Well, the answer is yes, it's a cheat. When you undo the pieces, you will find the card has been printed not like you normally expect, but it really is printed like that, yes. And then you then do the cuts. You can fool people into thinking that some really extra special magic's gone into it. And then an Italian friend of mine did one more thing which I thought was superb. When he took a card, which I'll disguise for a moment just to try and fool you, and he presented it on the table and said, "What about there? That's the Hypercard. How was that made?" And I looked at it, and I looked at it, and I looked at it, and I have to say, because I didn't recognise he's been cheating me, but he's done a very clever little thing. What he's done is simply cut it so it's not actually a regular card anymore. It's actually been cut with a large M cut out of it, or a W if it's that way. And when you twist it on our Hypercard, it appears like that. And we'll fool people when they've appreciated how it's done with these ones here, which are regular ones. So all that lot, all are single cards. There's a few I also managed to fit into my pack, which are multiple cards, where I had to put them together. This one, for instance, I think this is Valerie Van invented this. You have to make these and push them forward into what's called tetrahedron, but a little chain like that, and then stick them together. And it's quite tricky to do when you've got 4 of them, but the end result is this extraordinary thing called a sunken cube octahedron. So each of those makes, you can see when we start putting them together, cavities which appear on all the sides. Instead of coming out as points, they're square pyramids, but hollow ones going into the card like that. So 4 of these done like that will eventually, with quite a bit of effort, produce that figure there like that. And one of the earliest ones I've ever came across of these was this one here. Extraordinary. These are 4 cards which have got different sort of slits in them, which are fairly easy to do. This one's got a slit down the centre there, and 2 at the side. That's got 2 slits, but both in the middle of the card. And the last one's got slits on the edge of the corner of the card. And when you put them together, a bit of effort, because it takes me time to learn these or relearn them, you get a very nice little rebus like that with X, Y, and Z, the 3 orthogonal at right angles positions for a card, this way, and this way. And that turned into that when you've had a bit of practice, I suppose. The penultimate one is this one here, where you are given 4 cards and asked to create the 4 of clubs, but when you hand it to them, it comes in this form like this, and it's a simple, fairly simple way of assembling them together in order to ignore the 8s, which is a misleading, and find they all slip together, one over the other, to make a square, and that creates the 4 parts. It's a very, very nice little version of that. The last one of all, is probably the most spectacular, is something by Kofu Sato, a young Japanese designer, came up with a little time ago, and this is really quite remarkable. It's got 4 cards. I need to find the 4th one. There we are. 3 cards, rather. Each of them is given a slit like that. Now, the slitting is a bit tricky because you've got to actually make a slit with a bit of depth to it, so that, or the gap must be an air gap. So when this passes through like that, it's not really being forced over because it's not a single done with a knife. It's actually 2 slits very, very close together, about 1/10 of a millimetre apart. When that's done, you then assemble it like this, which is such a beautiful idea of his. You do it like that, and then you've got the first bit of it done, and the last bit is just put this together like this. This is what took me a long time to learn to do. That go there like that, turn it over. Would you believe it's now, oh my, look at that, 3 cards intersecting at right angles, at funny angles, very cute, very, very clever indeed. That's been a lot of fun to make. It takes a bit of time for me to make them, but again, it's something I love to show to people, and when I take it out of my pocket, it's something I can give them at the same time. So over the years, I gradually give the pieces away, but each time when I get home, I refill the pack with it so that I can give them away to some other people. And they're so easily collectible and so ingenious to fit in a pack like that. It's a great thing to be able to do for me, a great joy to be able to entertain people, and the playing cards novelties is an ideal way of doing it.